Welcome back to Big Red Weekly, everybody. My name's Daniel, and let's get straight into this video. Now, Suns Clippers Game 5. This was definitely a much better game visually, I think, to watch than Game 4. Game 4 was definitely felt more climactic, and you were just waiting for something to happen. But game Game 5, Clippers came out completely different. They had a smaller lineup with Marcus Morris Sr. Starting at center for them, but they came out and they were attacking the rim immediately. Marcus Morris had an amazing first quarter. He shot like 5 of 5 or 6 for 6 on his first, as far as like 5 or 6 shots. He ended up scoring 13 points in the first quarter. Reggie Jackson too. He came out great first quarter, 10 points. He's been great for the Clippers on the offensive end. He's just been consistent. He's been a great shooter, and he's definitely looking for some money whenever the Clippers obviously get their season ending. He's been playing super well, and he's definitely going to get paid, definitely. But Clippers started out super well. I think the score was like 18-5 or something to start it out in the first like 3 or 4 minutes. The biggest reason for that, I think, was the Clippers started out defensively in like a 1-2-2 zone. It gets kind of weird with zones, but I think it was like a 1-2-2, and it forced the Suns to shoot from the outside because they were clogging the middle. They didn't want to let Ayton really bully them down low since they didn't have anybody to really match his size. But the Suns couldn't really get anything going from deep. But the Suns ended up coming back. They made their own little run. But ultimately, the first quarter ends 36-26. The first half, it was just good to see CP3 and Book really get their shot going again because obviously, if y'all remember in Game 4, they were broke, to say the least, from everywhere. Mid-range, the three. The only thing consistent for CP3 and Book in Game 4 were really their free throws. But they started to hit in this game. But great team offense overall. Free throws by Book, some nice plays by Ayton. He had a nice jumper and a tip in. Some Cam Johnson threes. It was just great. Second quarter, really, you just saw a lot of great team offense, which has really just been the story of, the Suns just this season overall. They were pretty similar to kind of like the Jazz in that respect, where, they obviously had a couple guys who were great in Book and CP, but overall their team success has to do with the fact that they're just such a good team and they're just a well-oiled machine. But the pace, again, something to note, the pace when CP3 versus Campaign is running the offense is different, but is not a bad different. When Campaign's running the offense, you see it kind of go, it starts to ramp up. You see they start moving, they start getting open, they start getting out in transition, they're really pushing the pace. Versus when CP3 is running it, you can see everything's a whole lot more calculated, and he's waiting, and he's thinking. CP3's thinking. But also at the start of the second quarter, DeMarcus Cousins had a steal on CP, which was just kind of the funniest thing. Just because you don't really expect a 6'11" guy to be stealing the ball from Chris Paul, who's always known for taking care of the ball. So it was just funny. Had to mention it. Morris and Jackson at the end of the first half really just seemed like the Clippers' best players. PG-13 in this first half, while he was scoring the ball pretty efficiently, he just didn't act like it was an elimination game. He was just kind of hanging back, and I'm not too sure if that was just because it just didn't click for him yet, or because his teammates were going off. He just decided to take a back seat because, why does he need to really get his hands dirty? And again, he was shooting pretty efficiently overall. He missed both of his threes, but he was shooting like 6 of 8 from overall. So I mean, he wasn't scoring that badly. He just wasn't being aggressive. Clippers had a 10-point lead almost going into into halftime, but the Suns had a night. It ended up being, there was like 4 seconds left on the clock. Clippers tipped it out. The Suns ran a great out of bounds play where they passed it to Ayton a little past half court. D-Book ran in. Aiden handed it off to Book, went straight into a ball screen. Book came up to the 3-point line, faked the shot. The defender went flying, and Booker was able to hit the buzzer beater three to give. So the Clippers only ended up being up 7 at half instead of the 10. But straight into the third quarter, the Suns keep up their energy for at least the first few minutes. They got a good few defensive stops that led to some nice buckets on the other end. We cut the lead to 1, but as soon as they got that lead to, they were only down 1. The Clippers turned it up. PG-13 started to come alive. It started to finally click that, if he loses this game, he's going home and his season's done. He ended up having like a 20-point quarter or something like that. He had 11 points at the start of the third quarter, and he finished the third quarter with like 31. I think that sounds right. He had some big shots. The Clippers ended up boosting that lead back up to 12 with like 4 minutes left in the third. CP3 had a bad fall. He came off a screen. Pat Bev was the one guarding him, and Pat Bev ended up getting under him while CP3 went up for the shot. They ended up calling a flagrant foul on Pat Bev, which it wasn't, but I was honestly okay with them calling the flagrant because as soon as the play happened, Pat Beverly was immediately mocking Chris Paul with his fall. And you could tell that, while Chris Paul, forced the contact, his fall was legit. And I was honestly okay with Pat Beverly getting the flagrant because I was like, you know what? He's not going to get a technical for it, so he might as well just get a flagrant. In my head, that worked, but obviously that's not good basketball. It should not have been a flagrant, but I'm willing to let it slide because Pat Beverly kind of gets on my nerves. I don't know what to really say about that. Cam Johnson for the Suns, he's been great. Even though he's not, you don't really think of him to, drop 20 points or drop 30 points occasionally. He's just always a great guy to have. He had like 11 points at the end of the third. He just always comes in, plays great defense. He gives energetic defense. He might not be the best defender, but he gives it his all. He stays in front of his guys fairly often. So he definitely could end up being, just a great defensive guy overall. But he always just comes in and he's always ready to score. And he's just been a great, valuable role player for the Suns team. And hopefully he really continues to develop because he could really just be a really key piece to, the Suns in the future. But the Clippers are a third quarter team, though. That's just what I seem to be learning from this Clippers team. They seem to always just be going off in the third quarter because someone always gets hot. Today it was PG-13. In like game 6 of the Jazz series, Terrence Mann had that big game where he ended up having like 39 points in the elimination game. So the Clippers just always seem to have somebody just go off in the third quarter, which is it's just kind of insane that's the quarter that they always choose to go off in. 91-78 to end the third. Suns make their final push in the fourth quarter, make another run to get the game within 4. The game was 98-94. And then Reggie Jackson's, I thought the Clippers were going to lose it because PG's had a few bad plays where it was just a couple of reckless turnovers. He had some fouls that were just, he had a push on a free throw. He just ended up pushing Torrey Craig down. It was just a bad foul. It was just dumb. It just didn't make any sense why he did it at the time. So I thought he was going to end up kind of screwing it up and the Suns were going to take the lead. But then Reggie Jackson scored like 8 quick points and decided that this game wasn't over yet. And then as soon as Reggie Jackson finished scoring, PG-13 was just like, nah, we're definitely not going home today. And he finished off this game super well. Paul George definitely ended up kind of getting a little bit of hate from me at the beginning just because he wasn't aggressive. I just didn't understand why he wasn't aggressive. Obviously, I was okay with it. As a Suns fan, I wanted the Suns to win this game. But again, as a basketball player and just someone who loves the game, I just couldn't stand to see Paul George just not, give his full effort. But you know, by the end of the game, he was definitely giving it his all. He had some great defensive plays. He was rebounding the ball really well, and he hit some big shots to make sure that the Suns, that the Clippers kept their lead. And just the last few minutes, you could just tell that the Suns weren't coming back. They were in a hole. There wasn't anything that they could do. Suns lose 116 to 102. Some stat lines for this game. Paul George with the biggest game of the night. He ended up scoring 41 points, 13 rebounds, 6 assists with 3 steals as well. He shot 15 of 20 overall, which is 75% from the field. Amazing efficiency, 3 of 6 from 3. Marcus Morris had his best game of this series with 22 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. Reggie Jackson with a great game, 23 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He's going to be looking to get paid once it's all said and done. DeMarcus Cousins with a great 15 points off the bench in just a little over 11 minutes. So he was efficient with his time. Just a great few minutes from Cousins. D-Book ended up having 31 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, and a couple steals. He didn't shoot that well overall. He shot fine from 3, 4 of 6 overall. 4 of 6 from 3. He shot 9 of 22 overall, which is only 41%, which is definitely pretty inefficient. Ayton only had 10 points, 11 rebounds. He has not been that aggressive since his 24-14 game in game 3. That was the game that he had that the tip and dunk. So that put them up 2-1, right? And then the 84-80 put them up 3-1. Yeah, so I think that he had that big game in game 3. Other than that, Cam Johnson had 14 points off the bench, but that was really their biggest other contributor. Oh, Chris Paul with 22 and 8. I forgot that Chris Paul obviously had 20 points, but same kind of thing. He shot 8 of 19 overall. He did not hit a three-pointer at all, but he took 6 of them. So pretty inefficient there. Clippers heated up at the right time. They had, solid contributions from both Reggie Jackson and Marcus Morris at the beginning, which kept them alive. If they didn't have those performances, the Clippers definitely could have been trailing for most of this game. And then, Paul George decided that he was really just going to go off. But that's it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you leave in the comments below some suggestions for videos in the future. Because if this series ends within the next, few days, and then, we're looking at the Atlanta Bucks series. Once those finals start, it's going to be a game just every other day. So I'm going to have those in-between days where I'm going to need something to upload. So make sure you guys are leaving your suggestions on what you'd like to hear me talk about. Anything, basketball related, just let me know. I'll do the research, get those videos out. So like I said, appreciate it, everybody. See you.